Hey guys, my name is Michael and I'm here on Kauai. I just wanted to make a quick video to discuss the some of the basic ins and outs of buying a vacation rental property here on Kauai, or really anywhere in Hawaii. So before I begin, I just want to say that I'm not a financial expert. This is not financial advice. This is just my observations based on my experience and kind of what I see in the field as a realtor here. So number one, you're thinking about buying a vacation rental investment property. Probably the first question you should be asking from an investment standpoint is, how much income is this asset capable of producing? It's a great question, and there's a couple ways to get an idea. So number one is to ask your realtor or listing agent or whoever you're talking to, ask for the financial information on the property. If there's any historical financial statements, if it's an active vacation rental, usually that's really helpful. You can see some of the past couple months or maybe even the past year or two, how the unit has produced. Usually they'll have a statement that shows the income, the taxes collected, the taxes paid out, the management fees, the other associated expenses, right? So if you can get your hands on financial statement for the unit that you're looking at, great. If you can't, and maybe even if you can, this might be a good thing to do as well. But what I always do, even if I do see the historical financials for the property, is I'll get on a website like VRBO, or my opinion, even a better one, airdna.co, and you can look up that property or similar properties. If it's a condominium, you can see what other units are renting for. You can kind of check out comparable units. You can see average nightly rates. Some of the other data that they have is the occupancy rate. If you don't know what the occupancy rate is, I can tell you in recent years, and it's almost 2023 at the time of this video, in recent years, in a good market, these units are doing typically 80 to 90% occupancy for the year, which means 80 to 90% of all days of the year, the unit is occupied by a paying renter. So those are some good numbers to use if you're gonna make some estimations with today's conditions. So what I would do from there is, figure out kind of what the expected average nightly rate is by looking at the comparable properties, and then multiplying it by however many days of the year it's probably going to be rented for, which is the occupancy rate, right? So that'll give you a good estimation of your gross expected income. And then one thing to note about that is that general excise tax and transient accommodations tax here in Hawaii typically are charged to the person who books the unit, so to the guest, on top of the nightly rate. So whatever you're charging for a nightly rate, the guest is going to pay various other things like the cleaning fee, sometimes there's a booking fee, and then the taxes. So that isn't per se taken directly out of your nightly rate, if that makes sense. So once you have your gross nightly rate, your estimation, then you just need to deduct your expenses. So the big ones to be mindful of right off the bat, I can tell you, is going to be management fees, if any. If you're self-managing, it's going to be a different story. But if you have a property manager, there's going to be management fees associated. Your HOAs, a lot of times electricity is a utility, even in condominiums, where the HOA might cover water or some other things. Usually the owner ends up paying the electricity. Once again, this is a case-by-case kind of basis. So, you got to take a deeper dive on what property you're looking for and whether it's a condominium or maybe it's a house. It's kind of a different story. But you take your gross and then you subtract your expenses for the year. Management fees, your HOA dues, any utilities you might be responsible for, your property taxes, your insurance. Those are some of the big ones right off of the bat. And that'll give you a good idea of what you could expect to net from the property. So I think that's a great place to start. And then you can kind of cross compare different properties from different locations or different price points. I think the number one thing to think about when you want to invest in a property and which one should you buy is always just going to come down to your preference. Obviously the numbers have to make sense to a degree, but here on Kauai, some people prefer Princeville, some people prefer Poipu, some people prefer Wailua, Kapa'a, even there's a couple in Lihui. So if the numbers are similar, obviously it just comes down to what can you see yourself enjoying, right? So I'd say the number one type of buyer that purchases an investment property here on the island is going to be one that purchases it for investment, but also enjoyment. I don't see too many people purchase purely for investment. Obviously that's an important factor, but I think the underlying reason why people buy here is so that they have something that they can enjoy, right? So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope my content was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. And if there's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to reach out. Hope you guys have a great day.